Thank you very much, fellow Africans, and welcome to this episode of the Change for African campaign. And happy birthday to me. And so, fellow Africans, being on Thursday, it's all about our pillar number 4 of the Change for African campaign. Pillar number 4, it's all about the living standards of our people in Africa. And so, fellow Africans, still on the role of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, I'll be tackling exactly goal number 11 and specifically on target number 11.1, which is all about ensuring access to adequate, safe and affordable housing and also the basic services. The goal itself is about sustainable cities and communities. So, fellow Africans, speaking about such a goal about cities, it is an issue of concern, and relating this to the living standards of the people and in the African context is also another goal of great concern. Meaning, just a quick statistics about that, only one about that, over 50% of the Africa's population, 50% of the African population that is domiciled in the urban areas, this population lives in the slum areas. This population live in slums. So, trying to navigate this goal and relating this to the African context, whereby Africa still, many of the progress is yet to happen in Africa. More so when it comes to our cities, we have very huge cities, but then some of these cities, they have like two patches. We have patches in these cities whereby we have people who live very huge and you have people who live very low, people who live in very destitute conditions. And this is all about living standards. Remember, living standards is all about access to basic services. Also, health is included, and even where people live is also included. So people live in slum areas whereby access to very critical things, in a very decent manner is very difficult. So it is an issue of concern, and very many issues of concern have to be addressed. That is why the Change for African campaign is addressing that. And remember, that is a very huge population, whereby in Africa, population of about 1.2 to 1.4 billion persons. Putting that in the context of maybe people who live in urban cities. Remember, people have continued to move from the rural areas to urban cities. A very huge population of this. And why do these people move from rural to urban areas? It's only because of one thing. Seeking for greener pastures, and meaning that these people moving from these places actually are seeking for greener pastures. Most of them do not, maybe they're just going to try luck. They're not very sure of what they're going to get. What happens at the end of the day is that they end up living in very destitute conditions. So it is still an issue of concern. Then about the rapid urbanization without proper planning has worsened the inequality, congestion and poor living conditions. It's all about urbanization, putting up of cities. Some of these cities have actually been constructed without some very clear or proper planning of how they are brought up. So it's also an issue of concern. And then affordable housing and services are key to dignity, health and productivity. Affordable housing, not the ones we hear around here, but we need really affordable housing whereby at the end of the day it's actually affordable and people are able to afford that. And then so we advocate for urban planning, whereby before we have cities being brought up, let us have some send interrogation and what we call what is it called? It's just running out. But then let us have some proper planning of that. The proper feasibility. Let us have proper feasibility. That is the one. That let us go through every channel to make sure that before we bring up some cities and plan some things, let us have that a very categorical way on how we are bringing up our cities, because they end up being a mess instead of being something good. They end up just making many things not to be in order. Most cities have not been brought up in order. Most people still live in slum areas. Let us make sure that we have the affordable housing. People should be living in very decent conditions in Africa at speaking today. But very huge population of Africa, actually very big slums. Like Africa is a home whereby we have the largest slums in the world. For example, just taking for example of Nairobi, Kibra slum. There's so many. You go to Nigeria, we have this. You go to many countries in Africa, their population still live in slummed areas whereby it's yet to go far, and this is not good. Those are very destitute conditions that people should not be living in. Very many places in Africa still live in slum areas. So fellow Africans, allow me to end it at that point. Remember, it's happy birthday. Thank you and have an interesting afternoon.